Hey there, you are listening to Creative Calling Podcast. I'm your host, Briana Christine, designer, illustrator, dancer, and creative entrepreneur. Most importantly, maker of Creative Calling Podcast and this book, Creative Calling Activity Book. In this mini-sode series, I take an activity from this book and I break it down for you to give you some extra inspiration, all for your freelance journey, your creative entrepreneurship type desires that come from your heart to inspire you and make you excited and those types of things. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk to you about habits, how habits define who you are, how habits can make you appear more professional or like you know what you're doing, and how not having habits can make you basically appear the opposite. So let's talk about the artwork because it's my favorite. Don't become a slave to your inhibition. Oh look, some of you guys who watch on YouTube got to see my little drawing for this activity too. Don't become a slave to your inhibition. So it's easy to make habits or to fall back on old habits that we've already developed, right? That's why dieting programs will be presented for the forever, for all time, because we know we have developed certain habits from wherever, it doesn't matter, that we don't like and we want to break them, but a lot of times we don't, and so we try every single diet on the planet. We start another business and another business and another business. We don't continue with one, and we wonder why they never work. We start a relationship, another relationship, another relationship. Whatever the case is, we have these habits and we do them again and again and again, and we wonder why things don't work. Now, I talk about food first because originally when I set out to make this episode and this activity, as a dancer and as someone, even as a creative entrepreneur who's heard multiple entrepreneurs talk about how food is so important in your daily life because it gives you energy. So what you eat matters as an entrepreneur. Of course, as a dancer, because it also influences your body. But it doesn't matter who's listening to this episode, food is important for your energy level. So originally when I made this topic, it was use this space to write or draw pictures of food you eat regularly. And then my second call to action is, are you eating the food that's giving you energy for your workday, or are you eating food that's taking away energy? So the idea being that you are always, in every aspect of your life, analyzing what you're doing and making sure that you're always taking steps towards what you're trying, your end goal. What is your end goal, right? So today, as I was making this, I really actually wanted to change it a little bit to talk about habits, because as much as food is a habit, everything we do is a habit. So I think about this when it comes to dancing. If you were to go to my studio, you'll see that there are certain dancers who appear to look better than other dancers. And I don't want to say that the people who are, I'm saying appear to look like better dancers, aren't very great dancers. But part of what makes the dancers look really good is they have a specific goal in mind. They stick to a routine and they do it again and again and again. And then they oftentimes, if they do that really well, they build upon it and they make it better every single time. So my whole point with this episode is I want to talk about how to make you better each and every time, rather than you being stuck in this cycle of I'm spinning my wheels and I'm not going anywhere. All right, so if you want to stick with this, we could stick with the food analogy, which is totally, cool. I wrote that I eat a lot of eggs, I eat a lot of turkey, eat a lot of vegetables, I have a lot of protein bars on here and some bagels. Those are my typical things that I tend to eat. It's just easy for me to just pick it up, do it, eat it every week. And it's satisfied me, it has satisfied me to this point, and I don't want to get too much into food for this particular episode, but there are things I want to do to expand upon that to make it even better. One thing I've done just this past year is I've added more protein to my diet, and that has definitely helped me cut a lot of calories out and help for my energy. So if you're looking for a quick tip on that, protein is good. And then cutting out the sugar, who doesn't say to cut out sugar, but I'm just another one of those people that has found that cutting out more sugar than usual, I'm not like sugar free yet, has helped me a lot. But again, going back to this analogy of the dance routines, when you have a pattern for your business, like let's say every Monday you always follow up with your clients. That's a routine. You do it religiously every single Monday. Every Tuesday you put out a newsletter. That's a routine. That's something that people come to expect. The more times you do it, the easier it becomes, the better you can make it look. That is if you are always improving on it and not sticking with that same pattern. We get into a rut because we find something that works, and when we do it, that can be good. But what I want to ask you is, I know I'm like doing two things here at once. One, do you have a routine at all? If you don't, get one, because it's going to be the difference between how people perceive you. There are people that come into our dance studio who don't have a routine, they don't have a goal, they just go in, they go, I want to learn anything, I don't know, just like throw something at me. We're like, okay, we're gonna throw everything we know at you, which is a lot because we're dance teachers and we soak up so much information ourselves. We're just gonna pass that all to you. That's great, you have a lot of like offhand information, but you're not channeling that to like one specific thing, so it doesn't feel like you're going anywhere. It feels like you're spinning your wheels. It doesn't mean you are, it just means that it kind of feels like that because you don't have a goal in mind. So once you have that goal in mind, once you have a routine, you know what steps literally you need to take to get to where you want to go. Maybe you have done a routine, maybe you are already doing that, and you're like, Briana, what do I do? I've been doing the same thing over and over and over again, and I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. Well, there's the thing, is you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and now it's time to evaluate. Okay, you have the routine, what do you need to do to make it better? Do you need to go to a mentor to analyze what you're doing to make it better? That's sometimes what I have to do. I don't actually dance a routine style at this point in my dancing career, but even as a sort of improv dancer, I'll take what I'm learning and I'll maybe bring a dance partner or my practice partner in to a lesson, and I'll say, where can we go from here? We've done this technique, we've done this step, we hear this in the music. Where do we go from here to make it better? That's where the growth can happen. So if you feel like you've been stuck in a rut for a long time, get a mentor, get some outside help to help you expand upon what you've already been doing to make it even better. And if you don't have a routine, I'm encouraging you in this episode, try a routine and stick to it. You can't really stick to something for 30 days and go, that didn't work. If you watch dancers, going back to that, if you watch dancers who have stuck with a routine, they do it for months. They don't like try a routine and they go, well, I didn't get that routine in 30 days, so I guess I better move on to the next routine. Sure, maybe they did a routine for 30 days because it fit like a certain theme or a certain event, but most of the time they do it for at least a year before they move on. So that is my call to action for you guys today. And if you like this episode, please share it, like it, comment on it. If you want more, you can find more at Creative Calling Podcast on YouTube or on SoundCloud. If you have any questions for me, you can find me at facebook.com or Instagram at Briana for Creatives. That's the number 4. Briana, Briana. And as always, until next time.